than ever. It's a time when we have to fight to remind ourselves that we matter. There's power in our journey and how we look, how we show up in the world, what we say, what we do. All of it matters.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Fantastic.
You look fabulous.
As do you.
And I love the bangs.
Thank you.
Thumbs up.
Thank you, thank you. I learned so much about bangs by reading your book. The look.
Yes.
Why is now the right time for this work, and how do you hope it resonates?
Yeah, why now? I purposefully did not talk about fashion and beauty during the 8 years in the White House. And I did that because I was afraid it was going to take over everything. You know, how we look, how we show up in the world, especially as women, can dominate everything. And I learned that on the campaign trail. I'd go from town to town giving speeches in gymnasiums. I would talk about hope. I would talk about my husband's character, our values. I would talk about, what an outstanding president he was going to be. And the articles ultimately would begin by saying, and she was wearing. Not something that they do to men, but oftentimes as women, the focus first and foremost becomes what we wear, what we look like, our physical presence. And I didn't want that to be the primary story of my time as First Lady. So I avoided it. But there's a story there. Fashion, style, how we show up in the world. All of those are important and powerful tools for expressing our values, what we care about, respect, fun. So I knew that there was a story there. It was just a question of when to tell it. And I think now's the time, because I think after all these years, people know me. They know my voice. They know my work. They know my values above and beyond what I look like. And what I hope it does is, when people pick this book up, that they will, yes, see some beautiful, vibrant pictures, maybe reminisce about what things were like during our time in the White House. But if they read deeply, look at the essays, I hope they take away a sense of joy and confidence, a reminder of the importance of diversity and inclusion. I just want the people who read it to embrace their own style journeys, because this book isn't just about my 8 years in the White House. I mean, it really tracks my evolution as a person.
Oh, let's talk about some of these looks.
Yes.
Do you remember the look you were wearing when you met your husband?
The exact look, I'm not sure, but I am certain that it was some kind of 80s power suit. There was the blazer with a solid skirt, padded shoulders.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say the shoulder pads.
Very, very shouldered suit with some kind of feminine-ish blouse, usually with a tie. Yeah, now that I mentioned it, I'm surprised. I don't know what he saw, because I was like, ooh, that doesn't sound very sexy.
When you entered the White House, you write about kind of this pressure to conform, but also be yourself at the same time, which sound like mutually exclusive.
Yeah. I never found wardrobe requirements to be oppressive. When I entered the White House, I just understood the assignment. The role of First Lady, you can define it any way that you want to, but you're supposed to be inspirational yet accessible. You should be uniquely yourself, authentic, but representational at the same time. You want to be professional, at least I did. I wanted to be taken seriously, but there is the expectation there's a level of femininity to being the First Lady. And as a Black woman, I felt that I had to make sure that people could see my feminine side. I took the job very seriously. So what I had to wear was less the issue. The question was, how do I do it in a way that doesn't dominate, where I use fashion as an important tool, where I know it's going to be something that will draw attention, but how do I use it and take that attention and point it somewhere else? So I wanted to have a strategy. I wanted to be thoughtful. And I also had to have a process, because I didn't want to take a lot of time thinking about clothes. I launched 4 or 5 initiatives over the 8 years that I was in the White House. I was very concerned about the work I was doing. That was the most important thing to me. So fashion had to be, I had to have it down. It had to be easy and quick, but meaningful. The only way I was able to do that was because I had an amazing team.
The trifecta.
The trifecta. They are as much a part of this journey as I am. My stylist, Meredith Coop. There was Johnny Wright during the time in the White House. Yanae Damtu, and Jerry Radway, and Carl Ray, who has done my makeup for most of the time that I was in the White House. Now, this team that I highlight, these are like my children, my family. You know, when when people are doing your hair and fixing your clothes, I mean, they become closer to you sometimes than most people. For Black women, our hair stylists are like our best friends because we spend so much time in the hairdresser, right?
Yes.
And the same is true for my team. And if it wasn't for their smarts and them understanding the assignment as well, understanding that fashion mattered, but for me, it couldn't dominate, that, I wasn't a celebrity. I was a famous person, but I wasn't a starlet. And so that meant that the clothes could never speak louder than anything I had to say. And I always had to think about who I was with. What was I doing? I mean, I was a working, active first lady. I mean, at any given day, I could be gardening in the South Lawn or doing jumping jacks with kids or having lunch with some preschoolers or giving a speech to military moms. That could all happen in one day. So my clothes had to be ready for the moment. I had to be able to give a hug. I couldn't worry about whether somebody got makeup on something, so I rarely wore white. I didn't want my clothes to stop me from engaging people. So my clothes had to be welcoming. They had to invite people in. And so did the people who made them. We knew that diversity was an important part of the fashion story I wanted to tell. I wanted to lift up all the designers who otherwise wouldn't have the chance to dress a first lady. I wanted to break some norms. I wanted to bring some other people into the fold. So all that was part of the strategy. And with the help of my trifecta, we were able to pull it off.
When you think about braids, what would you say that signifies for you at this stage in your life, to have your hair in braids?
It's freedom, I mean, this is what we understand about our hair as women of color, that the way our hair naturally grows out of our head is beautiful. But if we struggle to make it look like the standard, that means we are spending thousands of hours and lots of money straightening out what is naturally curly hair, right? And that takes time out of your life. It costs money. Braids allow me to get them done, and then that's one less thing that I have to think about. While I love, changing my styles and doing all the fun things with hair, when I'm out of the public eye, I am swimming, I am playing tennis, I work out, I like to be active. I don't want to have a stylist with me because a hair can't get out of place, right? Also, I understood the symbolism of me wearing braids as the former first lady. I wasn't sure whether the country was ready for it yet. The Crown Act hadn't been passed yet. There was a lot that we were trying to do, and just like fashion, I didn't want my hair to become a distraction, but I understood the significance of wearing braids to our portrait unveiling. I wanted to send a message as well to young women and to all of us as women that we should be the ones determining what is appropriate for our hair. Not our boss, not our workplace, not some standard that doesn't even reflect us. Let us be the ones who make the decisions about how we want our hair. Let that be my business. Nothing is inappropriate.
Let's talk about the othering that took place of you while you were in the office. When that did get through to you, how did you cope? How did you manage?
I mean, I took it for what it was. It was pure hypocrisy. I mean, it was just straight up kind of, what, do you not look at history? I could pull up pictures of Jackie O in a second and see this fashion icon in sleeveless dresses. At a point, you're like, oh, this is politics. This is, if you can't beat them, make everybody scared of them. That was the motto. I mean, it wasn't the clothes, it was the fist bump. That was a terrorist fist bump. It was my husband's tan suit.
That was my
How
next question.
often were we called unpresidential? So I took it as political gamesmanship. It still happens. I mean, we can look at the differences in what's now acceptable in presidents and presidential families since we've come on board. I mean, nothing is a very big deal. So yeah, we knew very early on that that was nonsense. So I just kept doing what I thought suited me. And that's the thing that you learn as you get older. You're going to have your critics. We move forward.
There's a moment in the book where you describe getting all dolled up, as you did so many times, for these wonderful events. And I'm so glad to hear that you loved it, that you loved to step out and put on those, because it's just a dream in my head. So,
Yeah.
but you're there, you're done up to the nines, and you step out and you describe your husband sitting there in the same exact tux you wore to everything. And he's sitting there greeting you.
Yeah.
And you say this amazing thing where he would tell you you were beautiful and you always believed him.
Yeah.
How do you cultivate?
Well, my
that?
husband would say I still haven't cultivated it, because he tells me I'm beautiful all the time, and he says my response is thanks, and I keep moving. I say thanks, and I just keep moving. So it's becoming a running joke. For state dinner evenings, those black tie events, I mean, that was like a wedding every time, right? Everyone was giddy. You're getting all dolled up for your man to go, yes, to a date with 200 people and press clicking in front of you, but it was kind of like our fancy date night. And so there was kind of an unspoken ritual that I got ready, the team got ready. And because he would never see the dress, he never knew until I walked out ready what I was wearing. And so that's like the romance. Those were those little moments in this crazy world where we could look at each other and go, you're cute, and you're cute, and let's pretend like we're going on a date all by ourselves. Right. And then we walk downstairs to like a barrage of press and lights and cameras. So those moments were special.
I'm going to fast forward to now. What's a date night look like now?
Date nights are pretty. We've been married 32, 3. I always forget. Sorry, honey. It's 32 years, right? Date night is we're at home because we're not getting dressed. We just have a nice dinner, candles lit, music. We don't talk for the whole day because we're in the house together all day, right? So when we are going to have a really special night, it's like, don't talk to me. Save it for dinner. He'll be like, did you talk to the girls? I did, but we're not going to talk about it till date night. But sometimes we go out. We still like dining out, going to dinners in DC or wherever we are. I'm too old I can't do dinner and a movie. I never could, actually. I could do dinner or a movie.
You fall asleep in the movie.
I will fall asleep in the movie, girl.
Me too.
So it's like, let's pick one, and I pick dinner because at least we're together, and I'm not just sleeping on his shoulder in the movie. So
even in looking in this book, it made me wonder about cultivating the look for yourself with your team, but also having to do that for your girls as well, and navigate their sense of autonomy with this barrage of photographers and all of that. What was that mental math like for you as a mom?
So we had a deal. We had a deal with the press that, you could only cover the girls when they were doing something official. Rarely did we have the kids go to the Kennedy Center or state dinners. In fact, I was so opposed to them doing these things because these were weeknights. And it was like, you got homework. You going to school tomorrow. It's like you are the whole house. Your whole life is special. You can't break out of your regular life for the special things. You never do anything. It's like your job is to go to school and be a kid. Plus, I didn't want them taking up seats for really important people. It's like these seats were limited, right? It's like
Very.
You don't need, Sasha, you don't need a chair. You're not coming, and they didn't want to come. They didn't think what we did was interesting. They wanted to have sleepovers at their friends' houses. So the mentality was keep them in the space of being children.
What do you love about your 60s?
Oh my gosh. The first time in my life when every decision I make is for me. I mean, as mothers, as women, as wives, a lot of time we spend our lives making decisions. Well, I'm doing this because my kids, and I changed my job to accommodate my this, or I'm supporting my husband in that. And no, I'm not going to take this job, or I'm not going to try this thing. And now my kids are grown, they are launched. They are healthy and happy. My husband is doing just fine. We are no longer the president. We are the former, and I want to say we are the former president and first lady. It'll be 10 years almost
Yes.
that we have not been in that job. And so there's I feel like this is the first time in my life that when I say and do something here in this interview, writing this book, rolling it out in this way, these are my choices. And that is freeing. It really is. That's why I tell people the 60s, oh, a wonderful time. I'm as vibrant as I've ever been.